And suddenly Donald Trump is again talking tough against Russian President Vladimir Putin. Have a look.
And because of me, I do believe that he's willing to stop the fighting. Don't forget,
you think he wants peace? You think Vladimir Putin wants peace?
I think he does, yes. I think he does.
Right.
I was not happy when I saw Putin shooting missiles into a few towns and cities, and that was not something that I liked seeing, and I thought it was inappropriate.
Let's cross to Adelaide now and catch up with former Foreign Minister Alexander Downer. Good to talk to you again, Alexander. Given where this has been, to see Trump and Zelensky speaking together, to have this minerals deal signed and to have Trump now saying he's not happy with the behaviour of Putin, this is a positive step, isn't it?
It is, and it's very well put. I mean, I think after the fallout with Zelensky in the Oval Office, which was unprepossessing, President Trump is getting his Ukraine strategy well and truly back on track. This minerals agreement will give the Ukrainians a much stronger sense of security and certainty. It's a very good deal from their point of view, and it's also quite a good deal from America's point of view. You know, President Trump said before the election the best way to achieve peace was to use Ronald Reagan's expression, peace through strength. And now is the time to show the Russians that a ceasefire is necessary. Not a peace agreement, that will have to be negotiated, but a ceasefire. And Russia does have vulnerabilities. They have something like $300 billion worth of their reserves in the West, which can be leveraged. There are also secondary sanctions that could be imposed on Russia. So I think President Trump is thinking now much more about putting pressure on Russia, and that's a good thing.
Let's come back to Australian politics now and your assessments of the election. It has surprised me, I'll be the first to put my hand up, that the polling has shown a hardening towards Labor over the campaign. I expected it would go the other way, that Peter Dutton would be able to out-campaign Anthony Albanese. What's your read on how the campaign has unfolded and what result we're likely to get on Saturday night?
Well, it's difficult for any opposition to win an election after just one term in opposition. I mean, it last happened in, 1931, that a federal government only had one term. So it's a huge challenge for the Liberals. I think Peter Dutton has done a very good job, but it's hard for him to get his message through when, you know, you had the Easter break, you had the Pope dying, you had Trump tariffs and all the controversy surrounding that, not so much in Australia, but internationally. So it's been a period of, if you like, upheaval and drama outside of Australia. So it's made it very difficult for the opposition. But I think they have two really strong points to make. One is Labor's policy of windmills and solar panels, which is driving up electricity prices monumentally and making our country uncompetitive, exporting manufacturing elsewhere, and imposing huge costs on householders. And secondly, this whole issue of debt. I mean, every complaining group gets $1 billion from the Labor government, which is another $1 billion borrowed on top of the $1 trillion worth of debt that they've accumulated. So I think the problem of deficits, of debt, Labor can't handle money. They've never been good at handling money. And what they've done with energy prices and Australia's competitiveness in energy is just horrible to watch. So I think those two things are strong points for the coalition.
Yeah, but the obscenity here, if I could put it that strongly, is, for instance, when it comes to energy prices, the Labor Party's policies drive energy prices up to an extent that they really would hurt families. But as a political fix to that, not a substantive fix, it doesn't do anything to the energy system. They borrow more money to funnel it back as rebates to insulate people from the pain that they've created. Therefore, you're getting higher debt, the energy system's not getting fixed, and the reckoning is just delayed. When that substance hits the fan, there's going to be hell to pay.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, they're just postponing the pain. They're borrowing all of this money. I actually think it's a disgraceful thing that they have done with energy, because Australia's comparative advantage was cheap energy. That's underpinned the Australian economy for generations, and they've now created a situation where we have amongst the most expensive energy prices on earth. I mean, it's not just the households that are paying the bills for this, and they're getting rebates from borrowed money that the government has gone out and borrowed. It's the impact on industry. I mean, I'm from South Australia, and you can see what's happened in Whyalla. The steelworks is just not viable anymore. So Labor is spending a couple of $2 billion trying to keep it going. Fair enough, they probably have to. But they've created this situation with these massive increases in energy prices. I mean, it's an absolute disgrace, and it's not about nuclear power somewhat down the track. It's about scrapping these absurd wind and solar investments and making sure we make the most of our comparative energy advantages, in particular in gas.
Spot on, Alexander. It does my head in. National energy self-harm. Quite extraordinary. Thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.